Hey, it's Casey Lee Williams, and it's very nice to see you. Here's a Q&A video. I haven't done one of these in a long time, at least in this format, and I really wanted to just chill and answer some questions for you, so here we are. This Q&A video is for my patrons over on my Patreon, so first of all, thank you guys so much. I'm probably going to put this on my YouTube channel at a later time, so for you guys, I post tons of stuff over on my Patreon, like covers and original music that no one's heard, Q&As such as this, early access, I suppose. So yeah, if you are interested in anything like that and would like to support me, since I'm a freelance musician and I'm in a small band, independent band, it always definitely helps me out, so go check it out if you want to. Okay, so we're gonna get started, and first off, I have a couple of questions from Panda Man. Best concert you've attended? That is a good one. I have been to quite a few concerts in my day. The first one ever being Dream Theater when I was like 4 or 5. That was crazy. But I think that I'm gonna have to go with Sigur Rós. They're an Icelandic band, and I've seen them quite a few times now, and they are just fucking incredible. And I'm talking like I have a spiritual experience every time that I see them, and I pretty much will not see them if they are coming to town. They have really inspired a lot of music that I've created with my band and just on my own, and I think they are the band that I listen to or want to go see for a live experience when I need to feel reconnected to nature and to the universe. I don't know, no one does a better job at it than them. And another one, if you could perform with any musician or group, one still performing or one retired or passed away, who would you choose? This one also is a little tricky. I guess if I had to pick one that's still alive, I would love to perform with or even just learn a thing or two from Tom York or Kimbra, because Kimbra is an electric live performer and she just has inspired me a lot in my career as an artist. If I had to pick someone not alive, I guess I would pick Prince. He's the king, what can I say? Another one from Panda Man. What are your aspirations towards fame? For example, in a future conversation, which musicians would you like to be compared with when discussing current famous musicians? I'm not gonna lie, this topic has been actually on my mind a lot lately because of the stuff going on with Chappell Roan. It's been equally infuriating and also inspiring because I can unabashedly say that I am on her side 100%. I think that the way that she has skyrocketed fame-wise has been almost incomparable to a number of different people. Yes, she's had a career growing for 10 plus years, but the fame that she has had to get used to in just a matter of months because she was a part of Olivia Rodrigo's tour, it's just absolutely unfathomable. She all of a sudden is not a normal person. She can't go to get gas. She can't go to a grocery store and not have people know who she is, or if so, it's very rare. All I will say is I am not down with that kind of harassment or that level of knowability. To be honest with you, I have always been in this really nice niche spot of micro-internet celebrity fame, and I'm very grateful for it. I don't really feel that I need much more than this, and fame has never been the reason that I've done what I've done. I am from a family of musicians. It is in my blood, I guess you could say, and it's just everything that I love about living. I love art, I just want to make it, and if I can make a living comfortably while doing so, that's the goal, right? I would love to be right in the middle where some people know who I am, but I can still go enjoy a movie. I can still go get some fucking chips at the gas station and everything's gonna be chill. So that's the relationship with fame I suppose I would love to have. And I think that we should stop judging famous people so much, especially when they are young, when they are women, and when they rise to fame so quick that they had literally no control of it. All right, another question, this time from Matthew Dasher. He asks, favorite fighting game series? So I'm actually not a huge gamer, but the games that I love, I have kind of loved since childhood, and I just play them religiously. For instance, I haven't been able to put Breath of the Wild 2, Tears of the Kingdom down for weeks. That's also just related to other things. This year has been hard. But yes, I love open world games. I love Zelda to death. I love Kirby, and I love Mario, because I just grew up with these games. Fighting games wise, I still love playing Smash. Like, I'm a normal idiot nerd, but I am terrible at Smash. I just do the same thing every match where I main Kirby and I float above everyone and turn myself into a rock. And that actually is very effective, but it's definitely not a fair way to fight. And I guess you could say I am avoidant in Super Smash. Got a couple questions from Tiny Melody. Favorite anime and why? Favorite Ruby character and song and why? And favorite books? And have I read anything by Brandon Sanderson? I have not. So my favorite anime is probably Kill la Kill. It's either Kill la Kill or Dorohedoro. I think this is because I love Studio Trigger so much. I just love the way their animation looks, and I really like the world building in both of those shows. I also am not gonna lie, I love that those shows are a one season and done type of thing. Dorohedoro technically isn't, because a second season is, I think, in development. I'll probably watch it, but I just love fast-paced, messed up comedic anime, if that makes any sense. I like when it's really badass and has some cool female characters. My favorite Ruby character is always a tie between Yang and Neo. They couldn't be more opposite, but I just really enjoy them anytime that either of them are on screen. And I definitely relate to Yang, I think, the most, personality-wise. I don't really have a favorite Ruby song. I have a list of some favorites, I guess, but there's so much music. We made so many songs over the past decade that it's really hard to keep track of all of them, for one, and also to pick favorites of some of those. So I guess if I were gonna do that, I would say Smile, Touch the Sky, I May Fall, Ignite, Rising. The Edge was my favorite that I wrote, and I got to include Forever Fall too, because that's the one that makes me cry my eyes out. As far as favorite books, I'm also not a big reader. I have a really short attention span, but once I've found the books that I really like, I go through them very quickly. I really like graphic novels. I love Watchmen. Let's see. I really like the book I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I did see the movie first, and that got me very perplexed, so I read the book and I loved it. I also love the book Time Traveler's Wife. Also love the movie. I'm definitely much more of a cinephile. I absolutely love movies and I watch them like crazy, so my favorite books usually correlate with my favorite movies. Hence, two other examples, Coraline and Alice in Wonderland. Another question from Owen. Do you think you would ever try more traditional prose writing? Is there any piece of media that you think inspires you? Also, what is, in your opinion, the best and worst sequel you've ever seen? Be it a show, movie, book, etc. So I definitely haven't done a ton of traditional, prose writing, but I do sometimes just go off and write random lyrics or random stream of consciousness sort of emotional prompts, essays, whatever you want to call it. A lot of the time I will then refer back to those when I want to start a demo or a song, and maybe even if I don't use the words word for word, I pick and choose concepts or words that stick out to me or give me some specific emotion or mood, and I play off of those to write the rest of the song. I do also journal every once in a while, but I definitely have a hard time keeping it consistent, so I do have a journal that I write in once or twice a year, or a couple times a year. And then, what's my opinion of a best or worst sequel, or best and worst? I mean, best sequel definitely has to go to Shrek 2. That's arguably, and not a hot take for most of us, arguably better than the first one. Worst sequel? That is hard, because so many of them are just terrible. I remember really not liking the second Amazing Spider-Man. Not the Sam Raimi, because the Sam Raimi Spider-Man sequel is also arguably one of the best sequels. But yeah, there's a lot of really bad sequels out there, so I don't want to go ahead and say that the worst one is The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but it's kind of just the one that's coming to mind right now. Usually, I'm gonna say sequels are kind of shitty, but there are exceptions to the rule. Matthew Breedlove asks, who is your favorite producer in the music industry? I guess I have a couple of favorite producers, but usually with the artists that I listen to, a lot of them self-produce. Nigel Godrich is definitely one that I need to mention, because I love Radiohead and pretty much all of their music, and the production is without a doubt a huge part of that. Another one of my favorites is someone by the name of Photay, Photay. He's an artist, like musician, and self-produces, and he has literally a production sound that I want to aim for, especially as like a solo musician. I just am constantly inspired anytime that I hear anything that he puts out, and I'm obsessed. I do want to shout out Charlie XCX because she's also an incredible producer. And then I think Dan Carey and Alan Mulder both are pretty great. They've worked on Caroline Polachek's music. Her production is also some of my favorite. Also just want to say, production is so cool and so important, and I wish that when I was at music school that I understood how integral it was going to be to my own process of making music, because it's definitely something that I didn't have a great concept of until I started at school. And of course now I kind of left my education feeling like I could have learned a lot more, but also I've learned a lot from a lot of my friends and peers from school, and you can learn so much shit online. It's actually kind of crazy all the things you can learn just from YouTube videos. Yvonne W asks, what's the color of your energy? I guess if I had to give myself a color, I do kind of feel like my birthstone color, which is like topaz, is kind of my energy. I kind of feel like a very warm goldish yellow orange is kind of my vibe. Of course, maybe it depends on the day. I could tell you a totally different one, but I think that's the color of my energy. Amador asks, are you a coffee, tea, or energy drink kind of person? I am not an energy drink kind of person. It makes me shake and gives me anxiety, and I just don't need it. Definitely a tea person. I like coffee, but I try to not drink it as much. Tea and honey is definitely something that I do on the daily, and yeah, coffee is just like a fun treat every once in a while. Victoria Fauner asks, here's a silly one that I remember hearing once while at a convention some years back. What's your favorite kind of cheese? So I'm a really picky eater. I fucking suck, actually. But I do my due diligence. I am an adult. I try new foods all the time, or at least I really try to try new foods all the time. So with cheese, I love cheese, but I actually am quite boring with cheese. I really like mozzarella, Parmesan, ricotta. I feel like ricotta is probably my favorite, but I don't really like it in cannolis. Like, I like it in a savory context. And I love Colby Jack, which is just like a mix of cheddar and something. I don't even know what it is, but it tastes like nothing. So I'm sorry, I'm not the best person to ask about cheese. All right, the Spaghetti Justin asks, a bit of a weird one because I do this. Do you write your lyrics in a daydreaming state, if you know what I mean in it? Yes, I 100% know exactly what you mean. I feel like when I'm writing lyrics or when I'm even writing melodies, it feels like a very dreamy state. I don't feel very calculated when I'm writing lyrics. It sort of depends on what I'm trying to say, depends if it's a job or not, but I really just try to go stream of consciousness. That's just how I do things. Owen asks, who is your favorite band or artist? So I definitely, once again, can't help but mention quite a few. I did on my Patreon post a list of like my favorite albums of all time, and it was quite extensive. So you can go take a look at that if you want. A lot of those favorite albums are going to be my favorite artists. Let's see. My favorite artists of all time are probably the Beatles, because I started on the Beatles when I was really young, so I just feel like I need to shout them out always, and I do still listen to them, like, pretty often. They have some amazing stuff. They have also some really bad stuff. They just have a lot of music in general, so. A couple of other ones that I'll mention. Kimbra's whole discography really built me as like a young adult and influenced the kind of music that I was going to make for a long time, and yet still. So Kimbra for the win. Along with Kimbra, the other Kiwi, and the person who introduced me to Kimbra, Gautier, I don't know exactly how to pronounce his name, even to this day. He has not put out a ton of solo music, but the stuff that he has put out absolutely changed me. Another one is Moses Sumney. He really inspires me, and I just absolutely love not only his vocal range, it's absolutely insane, especially to witness live, but the like experimental nature of his music has always been really cool to me and something that I've wanted to aspire to. Another one that I kind of have to shout out is Sylvan Esso. I became quite obsessed with them over the past couple of years, and my love for like electronic pop, electronic indie pop has just grown exponentially, and I really am not only passionate about that kind of music, but I really want to make it as well and have made some of it. So yeah, they are such a cool duo, and I will also go to any of their shows. Pierce the Veil and My Chemical Romance were absolutely huge for me, as well as Paramore. Growing up, I would say as far as like metal or punk, those were the bands that I listened to the most. I definitely grew up on classic rock like Led Zeppelin and AC/DC. I think Led Zeppelin has left a lasting impression, but I definitely started to go in a more modern direction, and also like math rock kind of direction, and progressive obviously a little bit too. The Deer Hunter is another one of my favorite like progressive-ish bands. Sigur Rós, I have to shout out again. Their music totally changed my life as well. And that brings me to my final two. Radiohead probably is close to my favorite band, / The Smile, because that's sort of a newer project that they have been, or at least some of them are in, that's still putting out music currently. Radiohead really never changes for me, and I just continue to go back to them all the time. And then the other band I listened to a ton, along with everything else, was Muse. I don't listen to a ton of Muse anymore, and I haven't really liked anything that they've put out in the past couple of years, but Muse's first 3 to 4 albums, hugely impactful for me, and I absolutely love. I have a hard time with this question, obviously. I just want to list a million artists, because I listen to so much music, and I'm not joking about that, like, at all. I listen to new stuff, like, almost every single week, and I really like a very wide array of stuff, and I think it would surprise most people, but I mostly listen to a lot of chill music, a lot of indie pop, electronic pop, but not super energetic music all the time. Michael L. asks, if you could have any kind of superpower, what would it be? I like this one. It's so easy. I loved Teen Titans growing up, and I always wanted to be Beast Boy, because the way that I saw it, not only did I love animals, I wanted to be a veterinarian before I wanted to be a musician. If you have that superpower, then you can just be so many other things. You can have other superpowers if you think about it. Like, then I can fly. Then I can breathe underwater. Animals are amazing, and the possibilities would be endless. That shit's dope. Joshua Helms asks, what's your favorite song that you've written? I think that would be between The Fox and the Bird on OK Goodnight's album, or The Edge from the Ruby Volume 9 soundtrack. I also have a solo song that the world hasn't heard yet, but the patrons have heard, that I'm also very proud of. And I write new demos all the time. I have a lot of unfinished songs that I haven't been able to finish yet that I think have so much potential. There's also new OK Goodnight music that isn't finished, but it will probably start to replace my other favorites. As much as I love music and making music, I don't actually write super often. I really need to be in a very particular space to be excited about what I'm writing, so it doesn't happen for me every day. Nicholas Turner asks, what's your favorite dessert and drink combo? This is also pretty easy. I feel like I maybe even answered this when I did like a Q&A on my YouTube channel years ago. I'm still a huge Oreos and tea lady. Black tea with a little bit of milk. Dunking Oreos in that, absolutely game-changing. Also Biscoff cookies, but like we kind of been new about those. Oreos though, people are sleeping on. Dunk your Oreo in a tea right now. I swear you will not regret it. All right, the last question I'm going to answer today. This is from Lucas Wright, and this is actually more of an OK Goodnight question. So, you guys in OK Goodnight said that ever since your Fox and the Bird album, you started being a lot more collaborative when writing music. Could you explain a little bit about how that process looks for you now compared to how it was in the previous albums? Yeah, that's a great question. So, when the band started, a lot of the instrumental arrangements had already been completed or were like close to being done, and the band actually just really wanted some melodies and really wanted some vocals on the tracks. So when we wrote Limbo, a lot of that music was finished before a melody was even applied. So I really just did what you'd call top lining on a lot of those tracks. And then when we went to write Under the Veil, things changed a little bit because one or more of us started to bring different musical demos to the table, whether it be a piano part or whether it be a song that was fleshed out without a melody or a melody without the instrumentation. That's when we kind of started to just include everyone in that writing process. And I did start getting a little bit more integrated in writing like the harmony and talking about the song structure, things like that. And then the Fox and the Bird really changed everything because writing a concept album together was just a really big undertaking, and we wanted to do that as diligently as we possibly could. So we all sort of wrote the story first, and then we started writing the music, and that was a really interesting and new way of doing things. And that album became the most collaborative because we literally spent 3 days a week together in a room writing the songs and coming up with different chords, different melodies, different arrangements, different synth pad designs. There was a whole lot of that. A lot of the times I would kind of silently write my melodies and lyrics sort of in the background while a song section was on repeat, and maybe something else was being worked on at the same time. That was another really good way of working. The process is ever changing, especially because 2 of us moved, so we can't write all in the same room anymore. But the process is still pretty much the same. It's actually made it even more collaborative. When any one of us has a musical demo of some kind, whether it be a sound that we really like or a guitar riff, we then will share that with each other and then figure out how to work on that together. All right, well, this has been awesome. These were some really, really good questions. I really hope that you enjoyed. I would definitely love to do more of these. Let me know. I'd also be happy to explore creating some more content that has to do with maybe reviewing like specific bands or albums or movies. So just let me know. I'm super into the idea of doing something like that too. This has been so great. I hope you had a great time. It was so nice and chill for me. And yeah, I will see you next time. Bye.